Today I'll be showing you how to solve the Rubik's Cube in the simplest way possible using the beginner's method. So the first thing we need to understand about the cube is that we don't want to look at it in terms of solving individual faces on the cube. We have to look at the cube in terms of not just individual stickers, but look at them as whole pieces on the cube. So if I look around the cube, I'll see that there's a few different types of pieces. So there's the edge piece, which is here where it has two colors on it. You've got the corner piece that has three different colors, but it's one unit, they're connected. Because if I move them around, you see that these two, yellow and green, never split up, no matter what kind of move I do. So we have our edge pieces, our corner pieces, and then these are the center pieces that have only one color, and they basically denote what color this face will become, because the centerpiece will never move, all the other pieces will move around it. So now that we've understood the concept of individual pieces as whole units of the cube, we can talk about our strategy of solving the cube, which is going to be layer by layer. So what that means is we're going to solve the first layer, which would be, you can just pick like the top one, I guess, would be the first layer. And then whatever the middle layer is the next one that we're going to solve. And then finally the bottom layer or the last layer. And this is what it would look like as we're solving each of the layers. So I'm going to choose the white face to become my first layer. So since this is the white centerpiece, this is the layer that I'm going to be solving. And I'm going to hold the cube so that the white centerpiece is on the top like this, so it's facing up. And the way we're going to solve this is in two steps. The first step is going to be solving the white edge pieces, also known as the white cross. And then we're going to solve the first layer corner pieces. So to solve the edges or the cross, what we're going to do is look in the bottom layer. So this is the bottom layer. If this is the top layer that I'm trying to solve, then this is the bottom layer or the opposite one. And I'm going to look for any edge pieces that have a white color on them. So I'll see that there's a red and white one here. And I see another blue and white one here. Now there's two other edge pieces. Neither of these have a white color, so I can ignore those. And now I can choose to solve either of these. And you'll notice that the edge pieces in the bottom layer or anywhere on the cube really can have two different orientations because there's two different colors. So for example, with this blue one, the white is on the bottom, but with the red one, the white is on the side. And the reason this is important is because it determines the way that we actually solve the edge piece. So once you've found an edge piece you want to solve, in my case, I'm going to go with this blue and white one. What I need to do is find where this edge piece is supposed to go. So because this is blue and white, I'll look around the cube for the blue and white centerpiece, and I'll see that they meet in this location where this edge piece is. So this is where the blue and white edge piece should go, but it's currently over here. So to bring my blue and white edge piece into this location, what I can do is see the blue and white edge piece, I'm going to move it below the blue centerpiece. So just move this bottom layer until I have a blue centerpiece in the middle. And I'm rotating the cube along like this, so I'm basically changing the centerpiece that I see here while keeping the white on top because that's my top layer. And I'm going to be moving this edge piece along, so I'm basically changing what centerpiece it's falling under. So it's under the red now, and now it's under the blue. So you want these to be matching. And with the white on bottom, the way we solve this edge piece is by simply rotating the blue face. This is the blue face. I'm going to rotate this 2 times. Remember, my edge piece is down here, and I want it to be up here, so I'm going to rotate this face twice so that the white is now on top. And you can see that the 2 whites are connected and the 2 blues are connected. And we have our first edge piece solved. Now we can continue on and solve the other edge pieces. So I'm going to go back to the bottom layer and basically repeat that process. Now this one's a bit different because the white is on the side. So to solve this case, we still have to move the white and red edge piece underneath the red side. So I noticed that the red centerpiece is here. So I'm going to move my edge piece directly below the center where it's going to go onto. So this edge piece is going to come up here now. Now to solve this, we can't just rotate this red face twice because see that the edge piece is now flipped. these two colors are not matching and these are not matching. So we have to undo that. And the proper way to solve this is using something that I like to call the elevator method. And basically how it works is take this edge piece, move the bottom layer so it's on the side here right now. Then with the red still in front, we're going to move the middle layer down, kind of like an elevator. And then bring this edge piece into the elevator so that these two whites are connected. And then push the elevator back up like that. Now I'm going to look into the bottom layer again, and I see that I have got this green and white one. Because it's the green one, I need to move it below the green centerpiece like this. Okay, and now I can rotate. Because it's the white on bottom case, all I need to do is rotate this green face twice so that this edge piece comes to the top and lines up. And for the last one, we're going to look in the bottom layer, and we see that there are no more white edge pieces in the bottom layer. So what do we do now? We actually can see that if we look around the cube, the one we're looking for is here. It's in the middle layer. This is a really common scenario that happens, and it's a bit annoying, but it's not too hard. So what we need to do to bring this into the bottom layer is basically bring it down like this, so that basically rotate the right layer and just push it down so that the edge piece is in the bottom layer now. But you might have noticed that it kind of messes up this cross piece that we had already solved. By moving this down, we ruin our cross here. So what we need to do to make sure we preserve this cross piece is rotate this cross, the orange one to the front, and then we can bring our original cross piece back up to preserve that. And now we have this edge piece in the bottom layer, and we can continue to solve it. So we're going to look and see that this is the orange side. This is the orange color. So I'm going to move it below the orange centerpiece over here. And I notice that it's the white on the side case. So I'm going to look and apply the elevator method. So I'm going to move this edge piece to the side here like this. Bring the elevator down. Connect to the elevator. Push the elevator up. And then now I have my white cross solved. Now you may also run into a scenario like this where it looks like from the top that your cross is solved, but if you look in the side, some of the cross edge pieces are matching their center pieces, like these two. These are correct, but if you look at the blue and red ones, they're incorrect. They're actually switched because this blue is not on the correct side and neither is this red. These two colors should be matching. So to fix this, what we can basically do is just move this edge piece to the bottom layer like this by rotating this twice. So this edge piece is now in the bottom layer, and now you can move it wherever you want without messing up the existing cross edge pieces. So we can move this red and white below the red side. So now it's correctly matching. Then we can move it up like this. And that will bring this one down. So we can move the blue one underneath the blue side and solve it like that. To solve the first layer corners, we're going to again look into the bottom layer and find the corner pieces that we want to solve. So if I look here, I'll see this red, green, and white one. So basically any corner piece that has a white is the one that we're looking for. So this is not one. We can ignore this one as well. So these two are the important ones. So let's go ahead with this green, red, white. And holding my white layer on top, I'm going to look at the other two colors here, green and red. And I'm going to basically look for the green and red centerpieces here. And I see that these two centerpieces meet here along with the white. So this is the corner piece that we're trying to put this one into. This is where it's going to go into. So we want to place it underneath the position it's going to go into. And a really simple way of finding that is just seeing red and green are the other two colors on this corner piece. Red and green are these two centers. So just place it in between those two and then hold it like this so that this corner piece is in the bottom right. And now to actually solve this, we can't just move it up here because it completely breaks up the cross. So we need to solve it in a proper way. And the way to do that is applying a very short algorithm. And an algorithm sounds like a complicated thing, but it's actually just a sequence of moves that solves a very specific situation on the cube. So to solve this corner piece, we're just going to learn a 4-move algorithm, which looks like this. So the R stands for the right layer, and the apostrophe means it's a prime move, so we would call it R prime. Prime means if we look at the right layer, we're going to rotate it counterclockwise, so like this. So that's an R prime. So if I'm here, to do an R prime, I would do this. But an R, which is a regular R, would be rotating this layer clockwise, so like that. So this is an R, this is an R prime. And then we have a D, so the D is a down layer like this. So I think I lost my corner piece somewhere, so here it is, red and green. Just gonna move it red and green in between this red and green side, and holding it in the bottom right, I'm gonna apply my algorithm, R prime, so moving this down, D prime, so D is down and rotating this counterclockwise, so D prime like this, and then an R, and then D. So those are the 4 moves, and you can see it brings the corner piece up here, but it's rotated incorrectly. So to fix that, we just have to keep applying this algorithm, and it will eventually just solve itself. So R prime, D prime, R, D. It's down here now, just keep going. R prime, D prime, R, D, and our corner is doing stuff. R prime, D prime, R, D, and one more time, R prime, D prime, R, D. And there we see that the corner is finally solved. So really once you have the corner placed here, it can be in any orientation. You don't have to worry about that. Just keep applying this algorithm, and as long as you don't mess it up, your corner should eventually solve. Cool, so now we just have to repeat that. So we can look into the bottom layer again for any corner piece that has a white color, like this one, blue and red, and it's already in between the blue and red centerpieces, so we don't have to position it anywhere. So like if it was here, I would just move it here. So it's already here, and the orientation doesn't matter. We just have to apply the algorithm. R prime, D prime, R, D. Keep going a few times. R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. And our corner piece is solved. So we're getting there. And now I see that there's this corner piece. So this is green and orange. So I'm gonna move it in between the green and orange right here. Now let's keep going with the algorithm. R prime, D prime, R, D. 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 All right, there we go. Green and orange is solved. Our last corner pieces are over here. So we can move this below blue and orange. Blue and orange center pieces are here. This corner piece is gonna move up here. Apply the algorithm. And it works in the first try. Cool. That's our first layer complete. Before we move on, I just want to cover a couple of cases that you might run into while solving the first layer. So one case is if you're still just trying to solve your first layer corners, and then you look into the bottom layer for any white corner pieces and you don't see any, what do you do in this case? So this means our corner pieces are in the top layer somewhere that are not supposed to be there. For example, this one is here, but it is just flipped incorrectly and it's in the wrong spot. This one is in the wrong spot because from the top layer, it might look solved, but from the side, see, it's not matching the side colors. It should be like this. It should be matching both of its neighbors and the white, like this. So we have to move this out of its current spot. So to do that, we can just apply the algorithm once, R prime, D prime, R, D, and it moves the corner into the bottom layer. And now we can correctly solve this edge piece. So because I know it's blue and orange, I'm gonna move it between the blue and orange side. And now I can correctly solve it in the correct position by applying the algorithm. There we go. And now it has brought the other corner piece into the bottom layer. Now I can solve this one in its corresponding position. There we go. So now that our first layer is complete, and the way you know it's properly done is when you see a full row of colors solved here, like all oranges, all greens, reds. If some of these colors are mismatching, then something went wrong and you're gonna have to go back and fix your first layer. But if it looks like this, then you've done it correctly. And now we can move on to the second layer. To solve the second layer, we're gonna flip the cube over like this. So this will become my new top layer now. And we basically are gonna have to try and solve these 4 edges around the cube. And to do that, we're gonna look in the top layer for any non-yellow edge pieces. So for example, I see there's this blue and orange, so that's good. Green, orange, blue, red, that's all good. But there's this orange, yellow, so we're gonna ignore that piece. And really, you can choose any of the non-yellow ones. I'm gonna choose a blue, red to start with. And what we wanna do is match this blue, red with the side color that it has. So the side color is blue in this case. We want to bring it up on top of the blue centerpiece. So this is orange and this is blue. So now that these two are matching, we see that the top color of the edge piece is red. So this blue-red edge piece is gonna go in between the blue and red sides. So this edge piece will go right here when it's solved. To solve this edge piece, there is an algorithm to do this, but instead of teaching you with the notation, I'm gonna show you in a more intuitive way how to memorize the algorithm. The way to do it is once you have the side colors matched up, you look at the top color, in this case it's red of the edge piece, and then we notice that red is on the right side. It could also have been on the left, but in this case it's on the right. So what we're going to do is move this edge, rotate the top layer to move the edge away from the red side like this. So the edge used to be here, we moved it here. And now what we want to do is bring this right layer up to bring this corner piece up. Then we want to bring our edge piece back to this front position and then bring the corner piece back down. So bring this layer down so that the corner piece will connect to the edge piece. And you can see that you have these 2 blues, 2 reds, and it creates this corner and edge pair. And then we just want to insert this pair into this slot. So we will rotate the cube so this white faces us, move this over, and then we want to bring this cross piece up. And then we're going to connect this corner to the cross and then insert it down. You might have to rewatch that a few times. It's definitely a bit tricky at the beginning. So let's go ahead and do another one. I see we got the blue and orange here. So let's try to do that. Again, the first step, match up the side color of the edge piece with its corresponding centerpiece, blue in this case. Then we look at the top color, it's orange. So we're going to find the orange side. It's not on the right, but it's on the left this time. So we're going to move this edge piece away from the orange side by rotating the top layer. So do this, and this edge piece goes here. Then we can bring up the orange and blue because this edge piece has to go here. So this is the corresponding corner piece, so we bring that up. Then we bring the edge piece back to the front. And then we bring this corner piece down. Basically think about returning this cross piece back down to where it came from. Then you'll notice that this edge piece and corner piece get connected like this. Then we have to rotate the cube so that the white of the corner piece faces us. Then we want to insert this down basically, right? Well, we can't do that because it will kind of ruin our first layer. So what we're going to do is move this out of the way. This is similar to the elevator method. Move the corner out of the way to bring this cross piece up, connect it into the elevator, and bring the cross down. Hopefully it's starting to make a bit more sense. Let's just continue on, orange and green. So I'm going to look at the side color, it's orange. I want to match it up with the orange centerpiece. So rotate my top layer and the whole cube along with it until it matches like this. And now I'll look at my top color, green. And I'm going to move this away from the green side. The green side is over here. So I'm going to move this away with a single move of the top layer. Then I want to bring the green edge or corner piece up. Bring the orange edge back in front. Bring the corner piece back down to create this connection. Now rotate the cube so that this corner piece white faces us. Then since we want to insert this down here, but we don't want to ruin everything, we're going to move it out of the way. Bring this up, connect it, and bring it down. If we look around the cube, we have one more edge piece to solve this one. But if you look in the top layer, there's no more non-yellow edge pieces because this is the piece that we want to solve, but it's just flipped. It's in the correct spot, but it's not oriented correctly. So to fix this is a bit of a tricky and annoying situation. But basically to fix this, we're gonna have to insert one of the yellow edges in this position, and then it'll kick this edge piece out, and then we can insert it correctly. Because I want to insert this edge piece in this position, I'm going to start by moving it away from where it has to go into, and then I'll bring this corner piece up, the corresponding corner piece. Then I bring my edge piece back. Then I bring my corner piece back down so that it should create a connection, but right now we're purposely inserting the wrong piece. Then I'm going to rotate to have the white face me on the corner, move it out of the way, bring this cross piece up, connect them, and bring it down. And now we've successfully inserted the wrong piece so that our actual edge piece is now here in the top layer. And now we can go ahead and insert this correctly. So top color is green, green is over here, move it out of the way, bring this up, bring this back down, rotate, move it out of the way, bring this up, connect it, bring it down. And there we go. Our second layer is fully complete. So I know that seemed a little bit confusing, but I promise if you just follow those steps, they never change. And as long as you're setting up your pieces correctly and following those exact steps like I showed you, you should be able to solve the second layer. All right, so we're making good progress. We're on to the last layer now. Now to solve the last layer, we're going to be doing this in two parts. First, we're going to orient the last layer, which basically just means we're going to solve the whole yellow face. And then we're going to permute the last layer, which is just solving the rest of the cube. To permute the last layer and solve the yellow face, we're going to break that down into two steps. First, we solve all of the yellow edges, and then we solve the yellow corners. Now to do this, we're going to have to learn a few algorithms, but I promise I'm going to break them down, and it's going to be really easy to learn and memorize. So depending on the scramble, your last layer will likely look different than mine, and you could have either 0 edges solved like I do here, or you could have 2 of the yellow edges solved, or you could have all 4 of them solved. I'm going to start off by showing you what to do when you have no yellow edges solved. So we only have to learn one algorithm, and we just have to repeat that throughout this step. So this is what the algorithm looks like. Hold the cube in any way you want as long as the yellow face is on top. And then we're going to apply the algorithm. So it starts with an F, which is front, and we rotate it clockwise. So it'll be like this. Then we do an R, which is a right face clockwise. Then we do a U, which is up. So this layer, top layer, rotate this clockwise once. Then we do an R prime. So bring the right layer down like this. Then a U prime. And then we do an F prime. And that is our algorithm. So you'll see that it rearranged the edge pieces so that now we have 2 yellow edges solved, and the rest of the cube is still solved. So we didn't undo anything. If the cube got messed up, then the algorithm went wrong somewhere, and you're sadly going to have to redo your first 2 layers to get back to the last layer. Now, when you have 2 edges solved on your yellow cross, they could either be adjacent to create this backwards L shape, or they could be across from each other to create a line. Now, if you have the backwards L shape, hold it like this. And now we apply our last layer edges algorithm once more. So we do an F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And now the edges have rearranged to be opposite of each other and create this line. So I'm going to hold the cube like this, line is horizontal, and apply the algorithm one more time. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And there it is. We have the yellow cross solved. So if you just apply that algorithm and hold the cube how I held it in each of those scenarios, you should be able to solve the yellow cross pretty easily. Now we just need to solve the yellow corners. To do that, we are going to apply another algorithm. If you have no corners solved, then you can hold it however you like. It doesn't matter. But if you have one yellow corner solved, make sure to always hold it so that it's in the bottom left like this. When you have two yellow corners solved, I'll talk about that in a little bit. First, let's learn the algorithm that we need to apply. So remember, for one yellow, always hold it in the bottom left. That is probably the most important thing for this part that we need to know. So now let's apply the algorithm. We're going to do an R, a U, an R prime, a U, then we do another R. Now we're going to do a U2, which is just the top layer twice, like this. And then we do an R prime, and we have our yellow face fully solved. Now, if you encounter a scenario like this where you have two yellow corner pieces and two of them unsolved, then what I want you to do is hold it like this so that the two unsolved ones are in the front, and then apply the algorithm. R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And it should rearrange the cube so that you have either one yellow, and then we can apply the algorithm again. And now our one yellow is over here, so we have to rotate the cube so it's in the bottom left, and then we apply the algorithm again, and it'll solve. But yeah, there are some shortcuts like the one that I showed you where if you have two yellows, just hold it like this so the unsolved are in the front. But for any other scenario that you can encounter, like if you have no yellows solved or you have two but they're diagonal or whatever, then there's not really any shortcut. Just apply the algorithm from any angle and then keep going, but just use the two shortcuts that I showed you with the two yellows that are adjacent that are solved and the one yellow that's in the corner that's solved. So now we just have to solve the remaining part of the cube, and we just have to learn two more algorithms. So if you haven't guessed it already, we're going to start by permuting all of the corner pieces first, which basically just means if you look around the cube and you see we have these headlights like this and we match them up, it means that these two corner pieces are permuted, and we just want to get headlights all around the cube so that all four corner pieces are permuted. So if you see a pair of headlights, match them up like this, and we're going to hold that at the back of the cube like this. And if you don't have any headlights, we'll go over that in a minute. So first, let's do an R prime to bring up this in the back. Then I'm going to do an F to bring these up. Then I'll do another R prime to bring this white bar to the top. And now think about it this way. I want this edge piece in the back to become white instead of yellow. So I'm going to do a B2. B is back, which will be this layer. So I'll do a B2. So notice how that becomes white. And now I basically want to return these two back to where they came from, but I can't because it'll break up this bar. So what I'm going to do is an R, and then I'm going to bring these two back down, and then I'll do an R prime to bring these back so that I can return this edge piece back to yellow. So let's do a B2, and then we just have to return these three whites back down with an R2. So if you look around the cube, we should have headlights, and we do. There we go. We can line them up. Now, if you encounter a scenario like this where you have no headlights around the cube, then just hold the cube in any angle with the yellow face on top, of course, and apply the headlights algorithm. And we should have a pair of headlights now. There we go, right here. And now I can put these into the back and apply my headlights algorithm to get headlights all around. There we go. And finally, we just have one more algorithm to learn, and it's not too bad either. So for this one, we just have to solve the edge pieces now. If you look around the cube, you might find that sometimes you have one of the edge pieces already solved, so it'll create a fully solved face. If you have that case, hold it in the back like this. If you don't have that, then we'll go over how to solve that after this in a minute. So how it goes is starts with an F2. Now for the algorithm, it could either be a U or a U prime. It depends on your situation. So for example, if I do a U here, I'll notice these two colors are mismatching, the edge piece in the center. But if I instead did a U prime, I see that they're both matching. So this is the one that I want to do. And now what I'll do is an R prime and an L prime to bring, basically think about it as bringing these two bars down. And now I want to switch these two bars. So I'll do an F2. And then I want to bring these two bars back up to the top. So I'll do an L prime. L is left, by the way, so this face. And then R to bring that back up. And now I want to bring this white bar back to the front. So we'll do a U prime. So this white bar is up here. And now let's do an F2 to bring it back to the bottom. And there we go, our cube is solved. Big congrats to you if you've been able to follow along everything so far and you were able to solve your first Rubik's Cube. It's a pretty great moment, and this is your entry into the world of cubing. Before I let you go, there's one more thing I want to show you. So if you have this case where you have no edge piece in the middle solved, we can apply that edge piece algorithm just from any angle, really. We'll do an F2, and in this case, if I do a U or a U prime, neither of them will match. So it doesn't matter which one I'll just do a U. And then I bring these two bars down in front of me. I'll do an F2. Then I bring these two bars back. And then I bring this white bar in front of me like this, so it's horizontal. Then I'll do an F2 to bring it back down. And I should have one of the middle edge pieces solved. There we go, the green one. And now I can just apply the algorithm one last time to solve the cube. Alright guys, so that's it. That's all there is to solving the Rubik's Cube. I showed you every single scenario that you can possibly encounter. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends, share it with your family. Get everyone into the hobby of cubing. It's a huge world. If you want to learn how to speed cube and learn how to solve the Rubik's Cube in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 5 seconds, then you can check out this intro to CFOP video. CFOP is the advanced Rubik's Cube method, but I'd only recommend learning that after you've practiced the beginner's method a few times and gotten the hang of it. So if you're into that, subscribe for more cubing content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.